Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome and thank you, everyone, for joining us here today. My name is Gary Lipner, and I am the Deputy Director of Flood Management and the Division of Safety of Dams for the California Department of Water Resources. I'd like to acknowledge our speakers here today, including California Natural Resources Secretary Wade Crowfoot, Department of Water Resources Director Carla Namath, Jane Dolan, President of the Central Valley Flood Protection Board, United States Army Corps of Engineers Lieutenant Colonel Kevin Arnett from the Sacramento District, and Rick Johnson, the Executive Director from the Sacramento Area Flood Control Agency. We are here today to mark the start of Flood Preparedness Week, which runs from October 21st through the 28th. Flood Preparedness is a joint effort through the California Silver Jackets program, which is a collaboration between the Department of Water Resources, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and state and local agencies. During this week, DWR supports local efforts across the entire state to educate the public about their flood risk and what they need to do to keep their household and family safe. As we saw last winter, flooding can happen at any place in California, including our coastal regions, the Central Valley, mountain communities, and even desert communities, as we saw with Hurricane Hilary this last summer. We also saw how flooding can happen at any time during the year, with the historic snowpack that caused water well into the summer, and then a significant flooding from a tropical storm from Hurricane Hilary in August. That's why California is investing in projects across the state to protect communities and make our cities, towns, and environment more climate resilient as flood risk increases due to climate change. Californians can take three very simple steps to prepare themselves and their households for flood risk in the future. This is what the people of California can do. Be aware, be prepared, and take action. Be aware of the flood risk in your community and any evacuation routes. Be prepared by having emergency go bag ready with any medication you might need or any important documents and emergency supplies. And please take action. Take action by immediately following directions, including any evacuation orders issued by local authorities without delay. It is also critically important to never drive through flooded roadways. Most loss of life in flood events occur from motorists trapped in floodways, and it could be impossible just to know how deep the flood water or the flooded roadway is. When you see a flooded roadway, turn around, don't drown. And because of climate change, California is also working to prepare our state for future flooding. This event levels Lower Elkhorn, Basin, Levee, Setback project is behind me is a recent accomplishment completed with 7 miles of new levee embankments to increase the amount of floodwater directed from the Sacramento region. This $280 million project will reduce flood risk for 780,000 people. Levels is the first state-led implementation of the system-wide flood system improvements and was initially identified in the 2012 and the 2017 Central Valley Flood Protection Plan. This updated infrastructure increases the flood system's resiliency and benefits both the public safety and ecosystems. Combined with the United States Army Corps of Engineers Sacramento Weir Widening Project, more flood flows will reach the Yolo Bypass during high flow events, reducing flood risk for people and creating habitat for fish, birds, and other wildlife. This is just one example of the innovative thinking and collaboration that will be needed to continue to make California climate resilient into the future. With that, I will invite the Department of Water Resources Director, Carla Namath. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary, and welcome to all of you. Thanks for coming out and joining us on just a gorgeous morning after a pretty nice rainstorm yesterday. I can't think of a better way to kick off Flood Week by celebrating this crucial project to protect so many here in the greater Sacramento area. And our ability to do it in a way that acknowledges we have an extremely important opportunity with the pressures that climate is creating on all of us, to reinvest in our systems in ways that also work better for the environment and also work better for all Californians, regardless of their income level. That's the future that we're working on here in California, and the Levels project is a terrific example of such. I probably don't have to tell this group that we just finished really some of the 3 driest years on record, with one of the wettest. Depending on where you were in the state, you broke records. Maybe in this part of the state, I would say we got a little lucky. All of you flood managers out there, I know that you, like the department, think a lot about whether or not Mother Nature is going to really throw us a curveball and how to be ready for everything. But what it really means is that we have to be prepared for more extreme hydrology and more intense storm conditions. One of the true challenges of climate is it really hits us on both ends, the dry end of the spectrum, where droughts become deeper because of warming temperatures and the ability of warming temperatures to evaporate more of our surface water supply, or to have that water go into the ground. On the flip side of that, when we have warming temperatures and big storm events, they tend to transport even more water. And so we have to be ready for both. And this is the kind of project that helps us do that. And we certainly could not do it without the incredible partnership that the department shares with the Army Corps of Engineers, our colleagues at the local SAFCA, our flood control agencies, and importantly, our environmental partners. We need a lot of permits for these kinds of projects, and our ability to come to the table and demonstrate the ways in which these projects, these multi-benefit projects, are creating uplift for species, enables us to get our work done to protect our communities faster than we otherwise could. So you're going to start to see ever more of those kinds of projects sponsored and supported by the department, and they will absolutely require partnerships with all of you moving into the future. I'm very proud to say that the Newsom administration has supported flood preparedness and flood projects of this sort to the tune of about $450 million. That's a significant down payment. There's a lot more that we need to do to ready ourselves, but it really is wonderful to be able to be out here and to celebrate with you all our success. And then finally, the Yochadihi were not able to join us here today. I wanted to call them out specially. They have been an enormous partner in this effort, as well as other efforts in this area. And I just want to express my gratitude for them personally, and how much the department is learning from their tribal knowledge, and how much we look forward to that kind of knowledge helping to shape these projects moving forward. So I am going to read a brief statement on their behalf. The Lower Elkhorn Basin Levee Setback project success is a result of the partnerships developed throughout planning and construction, including a highly valued partnership with the Yochadihi Winton Nation. While the tribe unfortunately could not be present today, We have been honored and grateful for the tribe's knowledge, expertise, and participation that has been integrated into the project as we see here today. So thank you very much. And with that, I will introduce Secretary Crowfoot.
Well, it's great to be here today on such a beautiful sunny day. I think a lot of us last night, as the rain was coming down in and around Sacramento, wondered if we would be here today. But we are. And the weather over the last 24, 48 hours is a great example and a reminder that we always have to be flood prepared. And that's what this week is all about. Flood Preparedness Week is an annual event where we underscore the flood risks that we all face across California. We reflect on the progress that we're making, controlling for those risks, and then we ask for all Californians' partnership to keep them and themselves safe. Now, where we are today is just a few miles north of Sacramento, and if you live in this region, you know Sacramento is one of the most flood vulnerable large cities in the country. And in early days, literally the entire city or town would wash out as a result of a lack of flood protection. We've come so far in recent decades and recent years, protecting upwards of 1 million residents in this region from flood risks, and it's remarkable. Now, as Carla mentioned, our flood risks are getting more intense. As our governor puts it, our wet periods are getting wetter and our dry periods are getting drier. A year ago this month marked the end of 3 years of the driest period in California's history. And it was only weeks after that we experienced among the wettest 3 weeks in California's history. And that is this weather whiplash that we're experiencing more and more of, that we can expect to continue to experience more of, including the possibility of this winter. If you've read, you understand that these El Nino conditions are setting up in the ocean. That may very well mean we will have wet conditions once again this year. So we know that California has had and we've lived through flood risks in the past. These flood risks are getting more intense, and we're doing more than ever to protect California from these risks. Our governor, our legislature have invested $8 billion over the last few years in building both our drought resilience and our flood resilience. And if you drive around this region, you are seeing that money at work. I live in East Sacramento, very close to the American River, and I was out on the American River Parkway biking yesterday, watching this tremendous progress on a project there called the American Common Rivers Feature Project, which is all about solidifying those levees that protect our communities, our neighborhood, my neighborhood, from flood risk that could materialize as early as this winter. So we have projects to strengthen levees. We also have projects like this called a levee setback project, where we're allowing more area within the Yolo bypass for the Sacramento River to overtop the Fremont Weir and to move through this area in a safe way. That's multi-beneficial, meaning we protect downriver communities, including Sacramento, from flood risk. We provide great winter habitat for salmon and other fish species, as well as ducks and migrating birds. And in a lot of places, we allow for groundwater recharge. So I'm really excited about this project and really thankful to the folks at DWR. Director Namath and her team have maintained a laser focus on flood protection, even during these extended drought periods. And that constant investment, that work over time, even when flood is a distant from most Californians' mind, is paying off. 7 miles of levee setback, over 900 acres of land that's going to be able to flood up safely to protect us from that next flood. And it's remarkable. It only happens with partnerships. And I'm so thankful that our Army Corps of Engineers, our federal partners, are leading this work across the state. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Colonel Arnett. We have our Central Valley Flood Protection Board and our director, Jane Dolan, really the entity within our state partnering with the Department of Water Resources to limit our flood risk over time. We have Rick Johnson here leading our local flood control agency, doing the work to make sure these projects actually happen in this region. And then, as Carla mentioned, the Yochidehi Wintu Nation, our tribal government partners, so central to this work. So moving forward, we will continue to make these investments and do the work that we need to as flood control agencies, but we need everyone's participation. And let me be clear, There were Californians that lost their lives last winter amidst this intense flooding because they took risks that they didn't have to. We have to remember, and we have to remind our family and our neighbors, when there are flood conditions and there are these big storms coming off the Pacific, be careful. Listen to your emergency response authorities and follow guidelines. Be ready for those extended power outages that came last winter. Check in on neighbors, particularly those that are homebound or elderly. And always, always, always respond and follow directions, including evacuations if you're in an area that is flooding. Together, we can continue to grow and prosper in California. We can continue to adjust and adapt to these changing conditions driven by climate change. And we can protect both our communities and our natural places. And so I am so thankful for the work led by Department of Water Resources and the work to build up Flood Preparedness Week. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Secretary Crowfoot. It is now my pleasure to introduce the president of the Central Valley Flood Protection Board, Jane Dolan.
Good morning. I left Chico this morning in the fog after a beautiful day of rain. So hopefully without my sunglasses, I can see my remarks. I'm glad to see you all here. I'm very honored to be the president of the Central Valley Flood Protection Board. I'm one of 7, each of us with some kind of indicated knowledge appointed by the governor. The Central Valley Flood Protection Board, in its current iteration, has been in existence since 2008. But prior to that, it had its name and its duties as a reclamation board, and prior to that, in 1902, as the Debris Commission, of all things. I've been asked to give an overview of the plan, which does indeed exist. The first plan ever, the first time there was a plan for the flood system in the Central Valley of California, was enacted in 2012. Prior to that, it would have been, oh my goodness, it's flooding, what do we do? Cities, counties on their own, maybe they got together, and it would be a reaction to the event rather than knowledge of the event and planning ahead. Now that there is a plan, and I see so many of you that know what's in it because we spent so many years in 2012, 2017, and 2022 preparing and enhancing this plan and its companion document, the conservation strategy, to also outline that we can protect lives, property, and key infrastructure, but we can also improve the environment at the same time. So you can read the 248 pages, or we have a 12-page one with the highlights. Happy to share. This plan in 2017 is a remarkable improvement. Each plan was good. This one is better. It is based on improved knowledge, improved climate science. In 2012, what we said was we need to be prepared for climate change. In 2022, we said it's here. We need to be resilient. And the plan calls for exactly what we're seeing here today. This is a very large setback and a very important element of the flood control system for the Sacramento River and its tributaries. But there have been other setbacks along the Feather, the Bear River, the American River, and also along the Sacramento River in West Sacramento. And these projects all help to widen the floodplain and reduce the risk to lives and property and infrastructure by giving a place for the flood water to go. Because we all know water always wins. And we certainly have learned that and seen that once again this last winter. I want to stress the importance of the regional cooperation that occurs for these kinds of projects to bring to fruition. You can have a plan and you could call for it. You could push and push for money to do that, but its implementation comes from regional cooperation. In 2012, we found that we needed to talk with, not at, but with the local agencies, cities, counties, levee districts, local reclamation districts, local maintaining areas, and landowners. And so we pushed in really good cooperation with the Department of Water Resources to form what are called regional flood management planning entities. And they have functioned since then. They have brought together people who used to not speak I used to be a county supervisor, and we didn't like our cities. Now we work together on flood protection because we are part of the Sutter Butte Flood Control entity, and there are others that are there. And it's been particularly important for this one with the Sacramento Area Flood Control Agency really leading that charge to talk with landowners and to resolve issues that often those who are doing the construction work should not and cannot take time to explain to folks. This project here is exactly the benefits that are called for in the plan. It's one of, we hope, will be many. What it will do, first and foremost, is widen the flood system so that there can be better safety, better flood risk protection to large cities, Sacramento, West Sacramento, and all along the Feather River and even up to where I live on the upper Sacramento. And it's the partnership of leaders that brought it all about. We all know that we can make plans and hopes until we get tired of doing that. What we need to do now is understand what needs to be done, continue our partnerships to see that it is, and really push for increasing the pace of implementation of projects like this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Dolan. And absolutely theme of this you're hearing is partners, collaboration. It takes a village to provide public safety for the people of California. And it's my absolute pleasure to invite one of our wonderful partners, the United States Army Corps of Engineers, and I give you Lieutenant Colonel Kevin Arnett.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Lipner. I'm honored to be here on behalf of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, joining our partners and special guests to talk about the importance of flood preparedness. The challenges of flooding are not new to the Sacramento region. In fact, efforts to control flooding with levees dates back to the 19th century. In 1916, the Sacramento Weir was constructed to help relieve the Sacramento River channel and protect population centers. The 1,950-foot wide structure and its 48 manually operated gates have admirably done the job for over 107 years. We know, however, that bigger, more prolonged storm systems are possible. This year hinted at the potential when dozens of atmospheric rivers repeatedly drenched California for the months to start the year. That's what makes events like the California Flood Preparedness Week so important. We cannot control nature. We cannot control flooding. But we can take steps to reduce its impact. For residents, that means taking steps to learn about their flood risk, making a plan, and assembling an emergency kit. For agencies like USACE and our partners here today, it means identifying ways we can improve our infrastructure to prepare us for whatever nature throws our way. Local projects like DWR's lower Elkhorn Basin levee setback and our Sacramento Weir expansion are doing just that. They help provide a relief valve to the Sacramento Basin when we're inundated with water flowing from the Sierra Nevada in the east and Mount Shasta in the north. We are working to nearly double the size of this relief valve, widening the weir and bypass 1,500 feet with a new passive weir system that directs high water flows into the bypass in order to lower the river elevation and the flood risk for the Sacramento region. USACE cannot do this work alone. The phrase, "it takes a village," is true in many contexts. And we've worked with our partners the last several years to develop and design the project to get us to this point. There's still a lot of heavy lifting to be done, but we are committed to completing the first major upgrade to the century-plus-old Sacramento Weir by the start of 2027. Expanding the Sacramento Weir serves as a major step towards reducing Sacramento's flood risk, but it's not the only step we're taking. Multiple construction projects are underway across the region, all designed to lower the flood risk for more than 500,000 people in the Sacramento area. I'd like to take a moment to share where we stand on a few of them. Our $1.8 billion American River Common Features program, which includes the Sacramento Weir project, has several components. We're in the 4th year of installing deep seepage cutoff walls inside the Sacramento East Levee, primarily in the Pocket and Little Pocket neighborhoods. We're completing the 2nd of 4 contracts to address erosion on the Sacramento River and have completed about 40% of the erosion protection features along the lower American River. Those projects are projected to be complete in 2026 and 2027, respectively. At Folsom Dam, work is underway to raise features around the lake as much as 3.5 feet to create additional temporary storage space in the reservoir for safely operating the main dam and auxiliary spillway. We're currently preparing to start works at dikes 1 through 6. This project is scheduled to be completed in 2027. Across the river, upgrades to all 42 miles of levee surrounding the Natomas Basin continues. A monumental task that fortunately has been made less daunting by the 18 miles of levee improvements completed by our state and local partners. Construction crews are actively working along the southern and eastern reaches of the basin. The $1.3 billion project is scheduled for completion in 2027. To our south, we are kicking off a project to improve more than 30 miles of levee in the north and south basins of West Sacramento. This is a major undertaking that we expect to take more than a decade to complete at a cost of $1.8 billion. To state it succinctly, significant investment and an incredible amount of work are helping to modernize an aging flood risk management system and strengthen our communities. But I remain incredibly proud at the changes that the Corps has been able to undertake over time, recognizing the importance of comprehensive benefits. I'm very proud to be here and be with our partners. President Dolan mentioned the Debris Commission, and the Corps still operates 2 debris dams, still holding back sediment from the historic hydraulic mining. So the Corps has been here working with the state, going back for quite a long time. We've been identifying opportunities for investment, and in these trying times, when there is a significant flood event, we've also identified opportunities such as forecast-informed reservoir operations that allow us to operate our flood releases in a way that also stewards water supply. We are able to identify opportunities for engineering with nature that lets us use a natural or nature-based feature to deliver the same flood risk benefit, but do so in a way that, again, accomplishes multiple benefits. I am so proud to be a part of the South Pacific Division, the Corps of Engineers, as we continue to safely deliver bold solutions to serve and strengthen all communities with quality projects on time and within budget. By working together, we are making the Sacramento region as prepared as it can be against the threat of flooding today and generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commander Arnett. Partnerships. You definitely have to have local advocacy and support, and it is my absolute pleasure to introduce the next speaker that's been a guiding light with flood protection for the Sacramento area and has long held the levels and the Sacramento Weir expansion project as just a huge milestone that has to be done for Sacramento flood protection. So thank you. This is Rick Johnson, with the Executive Director with the Sacramento Area Flood Control Association Agency. Thank you.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Gary. So Sacramento Area Flood Control Agency, or SAFCA, was formed in 1989 to serve as the local sponsor for the flood projects that are protecting Sacramento. I didn't want to take a second and give a shout out to my staff and my board. They're very dedicated and passionate about trying to serve the citizens and get ahead of the next big flood. And so really wanted to share that. So the flood system that protects Sacramento consists of Folsom Dam upstream on the American River, about 106 miles of levees on the American and Sacramento rivers, and a few of the creeks, the Sacramento Weir and Bypass, and then the Yolo Bypass and the Fremont Weir upstream. So when Folsom Dam was completed with the downstream system in the mid-50s, 1950s, we thought we had somewhere between a 400 or 500 year level protection at that time. We've had 8 storms on the American River larger than what Folsom was designed for since that time. So that, in conjunction with after Hurricane Katrina, there were new levee standards promulgated for urban areas. So between those two events, we've since learned that for the Sacramento area, we actually had less than a 100-year level of protection, and in some areas, even significantly lower than that. So with that, we went out and with our partners, the Corps of Engineers in the state of California, we now have 6 federally authorized projects reconstructing the entire system. So Colonel Arnett mentioned some of them up at Folsom Dam. Just completed a new spillway, are in the process of raising the dams and the dikes up there. On the American and Sacramento rivers and on some of the creeks, rebuilding all 106 miles of levees. And then on the Sacramento weir and bypass, we're widening the weir and the bypass. Over $5 billion in state, federal, and local money are going into those 6 projects. So as been talked about, once those are done, we'll get well over 200-year level protection for Sacramento once those 6 are done. But as we've discussed recently, especially, we've seen all these extreme events and realize there's a potential for more. And so we're working on the next generation of projects that will get us back up to about 500-year level of protection. And the Levels project, the Lower Elkhorn Basin Levee Setback project, is the first of those. So part of the Levels project is to widen the Sacramento bypass here. That, in conjunction with the widening of the weir that the Corps is taking on, and the other work on the American River, significantly increases the large amount of storms we can handle on the American River. Also, Levels is widening this part of the Yolo bypass, and so during a large flood event, the Yolo bypass takes more than 80% of flows out in the Sacramento River. And so this widening allows us to handle even larger storms on the Sacramento River. So it helps all parts of our Sacramento system there. SAFCA is very grateful to the state for moving forward with this project. Really appreciate it. And we're also grateful we were able to help participate in this. Ahead of the project, there's an old Bright landfill that was just over on the other side of the levee there. SAFCA was able to relocate that. A lot of help from, gotta give a shout out to the County of Yolo for helping us, and bringing it over to the Corrective Management Unit, the CAMU site that we're standing on now. So the old landfill's underneath where we're standing. And then SAFCA was also able to construct the interior drainage and that pumping plant back there. So we've felt part of this project and really appreciate the state moving forward with it. So just want to change gears a little bit and talk about what we've all talked about Flood Preparedness Week. Almost all of us either live or work or have some activities that we do behind levees. And so it's incumbent on the local citizens who live and work behind these levees. They have a responsibility to also be prepared. I mean, we're doing all this work, we're doing everything we can to try to prevent flooding. Mother Nature can come up with a storm bigger than what we've got things in place for, or you might have an isolated cell like we've seen a few times, or you might just have an emergency. So unfortunately, over the years, we've heard tragic stories, and too many of those have come when people have not paid attention to the emergency officials, to their instructions and their recommendations. So the county and the cities all have a lot of information going into flood season. Take advantage of that. When the storm hits, turn on the radio, turn on the television, listen to the advice, and if they ask you to evacuate, please pay attention to that. And then finally, I have to take a shout out to the partnership. None of this would happen without it. Central Valley Flood Protection Board, DWR, the state of California, the Army Corps of Engineers, we work great together, and all of this is because we have worked together on that. So thank you very much, and I appreciate the time. Turn it back to Gary.
Thank you very much, Rick, and thank you all again for joining. And again, we have wonderful partnerships that allow us to advance projects like this, and one of our great partners is Yolo County, and I'd like to just acknowledge that Supervisor Oscar Villegas is here at the event today, and thank you, Supervisor Villegas, for attending this event today. And we'd like to thank everyone for being here today to join this. And please adhere to any warnings. And like Rick Johnson just mentioned, if there is any evacuation order, be ready to go in any flood event that we have coming up. For those of you joining in person, there will be a site tour available to learn more about the Lower Elkhorn Basin Levee Setback project and the Sacramento Weir expansion project. You can stay in this area here, and the tour will, I believe, it be at the pump station right behind me right now. And for any more information about Flood Preparedness Week, please go to the DWR website, www.water.ca.gov. Thank you all very much.